Hi, so today I'd like to talk about a common myth, which is that when you buy your cell phone parts, when you buy your iPhone screens and whatnot from an American vendor, that you're getting better quality, that you're not getting that cheap Chinese crap, and that that's the best thing to do. And I want to talk about why this is dead wrong for several reasons. Now, a lot of you who watch this channel on a regular basis are probably a little bit more experienced, so you understand, and I don't really need to tell you, but just in case there are those of you out there who don't know, because again, you don't know everything until somebody tells it to you, the screens for an S5 from Samsung, the screens for an iPhone 5S, the screens for any of these cell phones, they are not made in America. There is not a single American vendor producing LCDs, digitizers, or any of this stuff. All of it comes from Asia. It does not get made here. So the idea of buying American because it's better quality, there is no argument to be had, because it's not even like you can argue back and forth as to whether one is better than the other, because the American parts do not exist. These do not come from America. That is the first thing to get down. The next thing to get down is the basic economics as to why the parts from America are not going to be better quality. We've established that these parts come from Asia, right? So if they come from Asia, if you buy it directly from Asia, you're buying from the people who make them and sell them. But if you buy from America, the guy in America has to buy it from Asia, and then he has to sell it to you. So there are one of two scenarios that could be taking place here when you buy a $35 part. So either A, you're getting the exact same thing that I buy when I buy it from China. That American vendor doesn't need to make money. His rent is free. That American vendor has a car that was given to him, and the insurance is just paid for by Mother Teresa. He doesn't have to pay for his kids' food, his kids' college tuition, his clothes. This is all just given to him by nice people. So he doesn't have to make money. He goes to work 8 hours a day to make nothing, so that he can buy a $35 cell phone screen and sell it to you for $35. That's scenario one. Scenario two is that that person buys a $25 cell phone screen from Asia so that he can sell it to you for $35 and make some money for himself, so that he can buy nice clothes, so that he can pay for his rent, so that he can have food on the table, so that when it's 17 degrees outside, he can turn the heat on and pay his national grid bill of $300 at the end of December. Which one do you think is happening? Do you think your iPhone screen vendor is a Mother Teresa that just buys the same screen that I suggest you buy and sells it to you for the same price? Or do you think they buy a lower level? Not because they're evil, not because they're mean, but because they need to make money. One of the things that drives me nuts is when people go, where do you buy your iPhone screen from? I want to buy the same ones you get. And I go, Jack Telecom. And they contact Jack Telecom. And then they get back to me and they say, you know what? They said that the screen is $35, but I already pay $35 in America. I don't see what the point is. I get the same thing. Really? So again, you think when you say I get the same thing, you think that scenario one is true. That your vendor, whoever they are, buys the $35 part from Asia, then sells it to you for $35 because they're just so nice and you're adorable and cute and they just like you because you're you. No, they are in business to make money. They're buying a lower quality part and selling it to you. I always buy my screens from Jack Telecom, but every now and then I run out and I buy from an American vendor and I get this fucking garbage. Let me just show this to you on the camera. So again, I haven't had a single iPhone 5C warranty in over a year. They're not as common as the other phones to repair, so this is understandable compared to 5 and 5S, but I've not had a single iPhone 5 warranty. And then we get into this garbage. So let's get manual focus on the camera on so that I can show you what these look like a little better. Oh, look at this horse shit. Look at this. Oh, what the fuck is this? Look, even the fucking backlight is falling out of this crap. And these are only two. I got a pile more over there, and I'm sure that the rest are going to be back in a very short amount of time. So I made a very, very bad mistake. I bought from a company that advertises great quality, and again, not going to name them because they are nice people and I respect them very much, but the pricing was just too close to what I pay to buy from China. So I know it's not the same thing because, again, they're nice people. They're nice people who pay their mortgages. They're nice people who drive their cars. They're nice people who eat and pay for their heat and pay for their car insurance and pay for their iPhones. And they don't pay for these iPhones off of charity. They pay for these iPhones off of the profit they get from buying a lower standard product and then reselling it to me at a profit. That is not mean. That is not evil. All of these people will go to heaven when they die. It's just business. And you know what most cell phone repair stores are going to do when their customer comes back a day later and the thing looks like this? They're not going to return it. They're going to tell the customer, you know, you must have fucked it up. You must have dropped it. Again, I know better because for 1 year, I have not had a single one of these have the adhesive fall out. And after I buy about a dozen or so of these, half of them are already back within 3 days. So, you know, and also, the reason I feel so empowered to be a wise ass and a dick on this channel on occasion when I'm talking about bad customer situations, the reason I feel empowered to act that way is because I offer a top quality service to my customers. I treat them like gold. I give them good parts at good prices. We are very, very fast. We are very, very reasonable. We work with people and we perform good service. And when I am putting shit like this into people's phones because my order was stuck in customs and I needed something quickly, I don't feel that empowered to be me anymore. But I am not going to tell them, no, sorry, you fucked it up, because I know I didn't fuck it up. I actually have the experience of buying good stuff, and I know that good stuff doesn't fall apart like this in droves over several days. Now, there's the other argument here, the argument that, oh, you know, the buying power of the American vendor is greater. You're only buying 100. They're buying 100,000. They are getting a better price than you. You know what affects pricing? Vendor relations. You know what good vendor relations are? You're easy to deal with. You don't return stuff that works. You don't return stuff that you've stabbed or you've ripped flex cables on. And you know what? I've found it's actually easier to have better vendor relations when you're not a large company, because large companies have miscommunication. Large companies have mishaps where the guy who's actually dealing with the vendor is not the person noticing that they're sending back screens that have torn flex cables. When you're dealing with a large company there, you have to deal with purchasing, you have to deal with this person's going to send the money after I'm done negotiating, whatever. It's not as easy as dealing with the smaller guy. So, you know, and the thing is, I get along with a lot of my vendors. I talk to them on a regular basis. I listen to them when they get married. I listen to them when they, you know, when they have problems in their job and their life. I talk to them when I have problems in my job and my life. We both share our dreams, our hope, our aspirations, what we hope to do. So I get to talk to them in a way that other people don't. And I get to see the invoices that other companies have. And I'm not going to say the names of the companies because I really don't want to start a shitstorm just to get a point across. But the companies, you know, a lot of these companies that spend buy 100,000 screens in a week, they're getting very similar pricing to my company when I was selling these and, you know, buying 2,000 or 3,000 screens a week. I mean, a fraction of a percent. Like, I mean, I'm paying $35 for something. They're paying $34.10 for it. I mean, again, when they say we have greater buying power, they do have greater buying power, but a fraction of a percent. So that savings so that they could buy a lower cost part and resell it to you at a profit, that's not coming from buying power. That's not coming from buying power. That's not coming from the discount they get for buying quantity. That is coming from buying the lower tier of stuff and selling it to you at the standard tier price. Or buying the standard tier stuff and selling it to you at a premium price. You know, this is one of the reasons I got out of the supply business, because there were just people focused on cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, and in order to actually get stuff at those cheaper prices, I would have had to buy shit. And then again, sometimes you can buy shit and you sell it and it works great. The thing about shit parts, it's not that they're always shit, it's the lack of consistency. Because sometimes you get stuff that is over the top amazing and great, and the next week you get a pile of shit like this. And I didn't want to do that to people. So let's still go over what we learned here. A, none of these parts are made in America. They're not. There is no such thing as buying an iPhone screen from an American vendor and getting something that's better. Secondly, there is absolutely no such thing as an American vendor that's a Mother Teresa. They're not going to buy the $35 screen from Jack Telecom and resell it to you for $35. That doesn't happen. So when I tell you to buy from Jack Telecom and you go, you know, my American vendor gives me the same price as them for the same thing, it's not the same thing. They're selling something else. I want you to ask your vendor, hi, do you sell to me for 0% profit? And if they say yes, and you go to visit them, and they're all standing out in the street using Lenote computers and McDonald's Wi-Fi without clothes on and burlap sacks, by all means believe that they are selling to you for no money. But most don't do that. They buy this, and they sell it at a markup. Oh, the third myth, buying power. Buying power gets you a discount, but you would be surprised it's not that much. If you're at a point where you're willing to buy 150 or 200 screens, I assure you that your pricing is going to be very, 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 very similar to a vendor that's buying 10,000, 20,000, 50,000. It's not about the quantity, it's about the rapport. Build a good rapport with them and be easy to deal with. Don't be a jackass, don't be always bargaining, don't be always bitching, and you're going to find that it's really easy to deal with these people. You know, somebody sent me a link to this Mancorp rework station. Let me see if I can find it on the web here so I can tell you. So I have a Xiaomao ZMR 6200C that I paid about $7,300 for. And, you know, And this is a pretty good rework station. And somebody sent me a link saying, you know, this looks very, very similar to something that came out from Mancorp. So if you Google Mancorp, M-A-N-N-C-O-R-P, RW1200, that's Mancorp RW1200, and then you Google Zhuomal, Z-H-U-O-M-A-L, ZM-R6200C, this looks like the exact same thing. And let me tell you, somebody who's used the Zhuomal to make money over the past 6 months, it does everything it needs to do, and it costs $7,300. This thing costs over $15,000. And again, I could be wrong here, but call me nuts. Something tells me that the difference between the Zhuomal and the Mancorp, the guy who sold me the Zhuomal lives in a humble house, drives a regular car, leads a normal life. Something tells me that the Mancorp sales manager drives a Lamborghini. Again, I could be wrong. Just call me nuts. But when you look at the Zhuomal, and then you look at the Mancorp, and then you see how they both work and how they both perform. Again, it's profit. It is what it is. It's a business, and it's not mean. It's not evil that other companies want to profit off of you. But I just want you to realize that other companies are looking to profit off of you, and I want you to be able to make a decision based on the truth. I don't want you making decisions based on silly ideas of buying power, silly ideas that American parts are better quality. If you are buying 5 to 10 screens a week, it doesn't make sense to pay DHL shipping from China. It doesn't make sense to deal with a sales rep that doesn't want to deal with you unless you're buying a couple of hundred. They're not going to treat you very well. The American vendor will. If you need stuff to come in 1 or 2 days' time, it doesn't make sense to always buy from China. That case, buy from America, by all means. But if you're at a point where you're buying a couple of hundred or a couple of thousand every week or every month, then it makes sense to buy from the Chinese vendor. Make decisions based on what makes sense for you at the time. Don't make decisions based on fairy tales, based on myths, based on nonsense. And above all, don't get stuck with shit like this. Like the same part that I buy from Jack? No.